welcome everybody to another video here on my channel. My name is Andrea Gomoll from Creative Creations, and today I'm gonna share a little tutorial with you on how to use my Build Your Whimsical Christmas Girl stamp set, because this one is a mix and match stamp set, very special. And I really loved the idea of this stamp set when I was like creating it, when I was drawing the little girls here and the little accessories, because I always wanted to have a stamp set that kind of gives you a little more the ability to mix and match and play compared to just stamping one finished girl. And most of my stamp sets just have one girl, which is all accessorized and decorated. And of course you can do a lot with different types of colors, different media. However, here you can go really creative yourself. You can just use this as a base and then add your own hair, or just create different combinations and really come up with some very unique whimsical, cute little girls. So I will share that with you. First of all, I will just share how to use this, those stamps in general, how to combine them, the best way to do it. There are actually different ways. You could just layer them with direct stamping, or you could just stamp the individual pieces and then layer them on top of each other, for example with three-dimensional glue dots, especially for those tiny cute little hats. That's really pretty and really awesome to do. So yeah, I will share like a series of videos with you, part 1, 2 and 3 maybe. Let's see. In the first one I will just share with you how to use them, how to add the hair in a very easy way, so nothing to be scared of. Yeah, and with adding the different hairstyles you can really like personalize those cute little girls. And then I will share some tips on coloring them, and then in the next videos we will jump in and yeah, create some projects, maybe some cute Christmas cards or Christmas tags, or like tree decoration or decorative ornaments for a Christmas tree. Yeah, or maybe some happy mail, Christmas happy mail, especially around Christmas. We're all like a lot into sending happy mail, even those people who usually don't do a lot of like snail mail. However, during Christmas time, there's nothing better than a real letter or a real card in the mail, right? Nothing can beat that. So whatever you do, don't send an SMS, a message, or an email for Christmas, because I don't know, for me, for Christmas, that's like so unpersonal and so, I don't know the right word in English, so not good, not authentic. So even though through the years some messages via smartphone are super easy and super convenient, but for Christmas take the time to send some happy mail. No matter, it's not like advertising those stamps, but in general with any stamps that you have at home, just create some cute little cards or letters or whatever, even store-bought cards with just some handwritten messages on. It's just so much more personal and will make the recipient really happy. Yeah, so I think we'll jump right in without further ado. If you want to grab that stamp set, it's available in my Etsy shop and also on my website, depending on where you prefer to purchase. If you are on Etsy, you maybe want to order on Etsy or on my website. I will put the links down there into the info box. And other than that, we will jump right in. I will share my tips and my ideas with you. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Leave a comment below the video or just drop me a line, email, on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever. And I'm happy to answer and happy to help. And yeah, I think we will get started and jump right in. Hope you will enjoy, guys. Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna grab my stamps here. And I'm using a black waterproof ink pad, like this one, for example. And in this case I'm working with this Tim Holtz stamp station thingy. However, you don't actually need that. I just really prefer to work with it when I'm stamping on textured watercolor cardstock, because of the texture. Sometimes you need a little more pressure if the print isn't that great, but that's not, so that's the case actually with all different types of stamps, clear stamps, so that's why I prefer this. It's also doable just with a normal acrylic block. If you have clean acrylic blocks, and if your acrylic blocks don't look like mine, because mine usually, let me just grab one if I can find one. Oh, there you go. Because mine usually, they're not so see-through anymore as they're supposed to be, because after a couple of times mine end up to look like that. So there's not that much of the see-through, see-through, how do you say, Eigenschaft, anyways, see-through effect thingy going on, whatever. So what I will do, or what you will do, is you will grab your cute little tiny faces here, okay? I will just start with a face. Zap, there you go. And then I'm just putting the face, just adding a sheet of watercolor paper here. Suck, there you go. I'm just putting the face somewhere. Make sure you have enough room around it for the additional things like hair and head later on, okay? So just put that there, press it down, and I have this in place. And I can ink it up. I'm just gonna flip that over, press it in place, lift it back up. And actually the print is perfect, so I don't need to go over it one more time. So what I will do is I'll just move this over, so then I might add this one over here. Again, make sure you have enough space for your head and accessories. Okay, so then inking that up again. And there's something underneath here. Oh, there you go. I felt that this was kind of wobbly. Wobbly. So good pressure again. There you go, next cute little face. And let's do a third one so that we can actually do all of them. The cool thing is that you can actually really like put this in place where you want it to go. Slightly like angle it, for example, if that's what you want. Let's angle this a little more maybe. Not like that, that's cute. And then I'm just flipping that over. Press, lifting it back up. I kind of want this a little more down here, like so. Oopsie daisy. Yeah, then I'm inking that up again. But again, you can just do this with it like a normal acrylic block. However, it's a little more convenient this way than, yeah, especially for a stamp like this. It is perfect. There you go. She's wearing her cute little head. Love it. I'm gonna add this thing, this band around her neck. Just putting that in place. And there you go. So we have the first base finished. So I'll do the exact same thing with the other two. It's with a little elf girl. Kind of, I don't know. It's hard for me to find the right words today. Anyways, so let's put it that way maybe. That's cute. Stamps aside, and I will just show you how to do the hair, how to add the hair, because that's another way to personalize those cute little girls, which I think is really fun. And that was kind of my intention for the stamp set, to give you as many possibilities to make them your own as possible. So all you will need, or you will do, is grab a pencil or grab a black pen. Okay, so now that we kind of have the combination of the cute little faces and the like accessories down here and up there the cute little head, okay, what you kind of want to add is some hair, because right now they would be kind of bald. And because you can mix and match and kind of personalize them a little more, that's kind of why I left the hair, and it's just making it so much easier, and you can decide for a hairdo. So maybe let's do just simple long hair here, so you can just add a little bit of this front part here. So it doesn't need to be like rocket science, right? So it's really like easy to do. It's not, don't need to be like super duper artistically skilled, and there are just so many ways to do this. So just kind of adding a little swirl of hair here and a little swirl there. And actually wouldn't like need a lot of hair, just because of the head. It would kind of cover most of it, right? So that's number one. Maybe let's give her a little bit of like a just like that, and maybe let's give her like also add a tiny bit of a shoulder here if that's what you want. Depends on kind of how detailed you want your girl to be. So what we would do is like add a little bit of this ponytail, is that called? I'm not sure. Here in the back of her head. Here as well. So now that I've sketched that in, I will just go in with my black fine line pen. Just make sure you use like a black waterproof pen, and then you can just go in and kind of add a little bit of of a hairdo. Again, doesn't need to be like rocket science. Just keep it very simple because there's already a lot going on here. So yeah, keep it basic. Just kind of add some new swirls here. And that's kind of the fun part because you can really personalize them and give them their own like individual characters. Even though you're kind of using the same stamp over and over again, they can all look kind of different, and that's what I really love. Yeah, to kind of have the option to be able to personalize things and to really kind of make them your own. Kind of add your own personal touch. And with the thickness of your line, you kind of just want to try to mimic the thickness of the lines that you work with. So it really depends on the pressure you applied to the stamp and the different type of ink that you used. So if your line, your pen line is or appears a little too thin, you can always go back in and go over the lines again. So actually, as you can see, it can really be as simple as this. As simple as just one soft line here. And that would be kind of all it needs for the hair. If you want, you can go back and add a little bit more definition here in the back area. But again, that's not like 100% necessary. And if you fancy, you could sketch in like teeny tiny earlobes. That's what you want, but again, it's optional. Like that. Okay, so you kind of have three cute little girls with individual hair. Just adding a little bit of this bottom shoulder part here, just a teeny tiny bit. And yeah, then I'm ready to go in and color them. Okay, so next I'm just going to color them in. I'm just using my aqua brush here, Pentel aqua brush, and yeah, some watercolors, just a mix from the pen, and maybe some aqua markers, the clean coloring brush pens, Ecoline brush pens, and let's see, maybe some of the Essence stamp sets here. It really depends. Usually I just grab and go. So starting with the Ecoline brush pen, I really like this one for skin color. This is the color called Apricot. And for those tiny, small images, it doesn't really need a lot. Just want to make sure that you don't overdo it with those small images. So I'm just laying down a little bit of color, and then I'm jumping in with my aqua brush, slightly blending this. Just about like that. Then I'm gonna give her some cute little rosy cheeks because winter time, right? Again, just applying it and then slightly blending it to get a nice smooth edge here. Also adding a little bit to the cute little nose, to the lips and to the neck, just to make the overall face a little rosier. And I'm so sorry for the background noise, but my computer is going wild and crazy today and it kind of has to work in the background so that I get my projects finished. Multitasking at its finest. So yeah, so that's already all about the face, so I'll just do this for the other faces here as well. So next, let's add a little bit of color to the hair. Let's see, maybe let's go with a little bit of brown and this cute little Santa girl here. And basically, when I'm coloring my images with watercolors, I usually start with one light, even coat of the color, and then once it is dry, I will go back in, doing a little bit more shading, adding a little bit more depth, just by applying a little bit of a darker, more intense shade of the color, or by applying a little bit of blue or purple to the shadows. So it really just depends on the look that you want to go for, right? Maybe let's give her a little bit of some brownish red hair here. And yeah, maybe just a different shade of brown for this little cutie here. So while the hair dries, before I jump back in, I will just add some color to the heart here, to the little Santa girl. Let me just find a red, a nice red. Of course, I kind of want a little bit more of a primary red, I think. Maybe I will just go with a little bit of a pink. Doesn't have to be like super traditional, right? Yeah, I like that. Love that color. So again, applying it, cleaning my brush, and then blending it a little for the first layer. And with fabric, usually it doesn't have to be like super smooth, because this kind of adds to the feel of the fabric later on, so you can even just leave a little bit of a texture in here already. Doesn't really matter. Actually, the only thing that I really want to have nice and smoothly blended is the face, usually. Let's see. A little bit down here. There you go, number one. For the white, so the fur is supposed to be white, right? I usually just add a teeny tiny bit of grayish blue, just for a tiny bit of depth here. Just to give it a little bit of dimension and of fluffiness. And that's usually enough. And what I really love to do is, especially for fluffy, puffy areas like this, for example, I really like to add a little bit of some glitter in the end, or maybe some snow paste to make it really fluffy. But as you can see, just a tiny bit of a grayish blue kind of adds dimension without taking away the appearance of a white, okay? Yeah, so while I'm at it, let's just add a tiny bit of color to your eyes here, maybe like a green. Again, it really just doesn't need a lot with small images like this. So less is usually more. Like that. While I'm at it, just adding a teeny bit of green here to that holly. Down there. There you go. So let's move on to that little Christmas elf over here. Again, with the first layer, not really bothering to think about shading just yet. That will happen with the second layer, okay? So right now I'm just popping in the color. And let's add the green here. Just find a nice green, sap green. I think looks really cool here. It's really pretty green. And I think I'm gonna overlay the writing on here later with like a tiny button or something. Just kind of thought that this would be even cuter to add a little dimension. I'll just see. Again, just having some fun here. Not over planning or overthinking, right? So while I'm at it, a little bit of green down here for the shirt. Little elf shirt. Okay, so let's move on to that little cutie here. I think I'm gonna go with a little bit of light blue here. So just some nice, cool winter colors. As you can see, for that wool texture, I'm just kind of dabbing the paint on. And same down here with her little sweater. Could even like draw some fun designs on a little sweater if that's what you want to. So like that. Let's add a little bit of brown to the antlers. Just like that. So we'll let this dry, and while this dries we can jump back to the little Santa girl already. So now with the next layer I'm just going in with a little bit of a darker shade of the color that I used before, as you can see. Just putting it down, and again not super duper smoothly blending it in, because I kind of want a little bit of this fabric texture. However, you could totally like blend it in to get like a nice smooth soft edge. It really just depends on kind of the look that you prefer and the look that you want to go for. Okay, but I kind of really like this textured look. Yeah, let's jump back into the hair here. Remember, this is like the front part of the hair, which would be lighter, and here you have the back part of the hair, in the back of her head actually, which would catch a little less light, so it would appear a little darker. This way you can just easily create a little bit of depth here. Just like that. So let's jump back into that little cutie here. Again, creating a little more dimension now, just by putting down the darker shade of the red that I used earlier. And you could use like feathered brush strokes like this, or you could again just blend it in depending on the look that you prefer. For blending, remember, always clean your brush, and then with a clean brush go back in slightly blended, because otherwise you are not like blending the line between the light and the dark, but you would just continue to spread out the darker color, and you would kind of end up with everything in that darker shade. That's not what we want, right? So, okay, let's see. Okay, I like it. Going back in with the green again, layering for a little more dimension here. Like that. Down here as well. Just about like that. So for the hair, I'm not sure about the reddish part of the hair, so I think I will just go over it with some brown as well, because for me this red hair kind of competes with this red part up here in the head. So I will just go back in with some brown. Cute! So let's move on over to this little cutie here. Antlers again. Again, adding a little texture here, a little depth. Just about like that. Let's see, definitely want a little more blue here in the head. this. And I think maybe for the little sweater, could even go for like a stripe pattern maybe. Yeah, like it. So I'm gonna go back into the scarf one more time. And with watercolors it really is this layering that creates this depth. And usually with my girls, with my paintings, I would work with 3, 4, 5 layers, but with a small image like this, don't want to overdo it, so usually I stick with 2, maybe 3 layers, and usually that's good enough to give it some depth. So, third round and then calling done. First of all, where's this gold that I used before? Definitely want to add a little more of this gold here. Alrighty, so third round and then calling this done. Going back to that little cutie over here. Okay, so last round, I'm gonna grab a little bit of purple. Not much. Don't want to overpower the base color, just kind of want to add a little more darkness here and there, just to give it a little more depth here. And purple or dark blue kind of always works pretty good for that. For shading, for blending, always make sure that tip of your brush is pointing towards the darkest area, because that really helps to get that nice smooth blended edge. Just like that, a little bit down here. Also a tiny bit here into this fluffy stuff. What is it called? I don't know. This fluffy stuff. That. A little bit of purple here to the back of the hair to make this even darker. Make it sink back into the background. Remember, the further things stand out, the lighter they are, because they catch more light. So by putting down darker colors, those areas kind of sink back into the illustration or painting or drawing or whatever, like that. And just a teeny bit here. Usually I would also do some purple shading for the face, but in this case Again, I don't want to like overpower this small image, so probably maybe just add a tiny bit here around that area and where the head and the hair is casting a shadow, slightly blending that, but that's all I would do here. And if it's a little too, I don't know, blobby for you, I don't know the word, you end up with some kind of unwanted lines here, you can always go back in with your skin color to make this a little softer again, like that. So, I like it, pretty cute. Forgot a little bit of purple here. And yeah, that's it. Doing the same thing here with that cute little elf. Just a little bit of purple down here at the bottom, blending it up. As you can see, this really pushes this bottom part back a little and kind of adds a little bit of this roundness, this dimension here. See? And the same here with the head, cute little elf head. Just like that, and a little bit down here. You can see just this tiny bit of purple here really adds depth to the whole image. Alright, cute. So the last thing that I would do here is add a tiny bit of white, just a tiny white reflection using my white paint marker here. This is the Molotov paint marker, and this already a catch light here in the eye. So I'm just adding this teeny tiny waterline here. right into the eye. Makes the eyes appear a little more sparkly. Little tiny white dot here to the cheekbone, just because I think it kind of adds a little bit of playful, whimsical touch to the nose. That's what I like to do. To the bottom lip here, a little bit of a white reflection. To the chin maybe. And that's actually all it really takes here. Could also just add in a tiny white reflection here and there, a white catch light, where you think it is needed. Just a little bit of white kind of always helps. Kind of makes things come to life even more. So this is actually one of my favorite steps to finish off my girls. Just to add a little bit of a white reflection here and there. White catch lights. Just a teeny tiny bit. Even if it's just like tiny white dots. Just kind of adds a little bit more playfulness. Kind of adds to this whimsical, playful style. Okay? Over here. And I just see that I kind of forgot to add a little bit of color here to the ears, to the inside of the ears. Don't ask me why. So I'll just hop back in, do that real quick, and then calling them done. So just a tiny bit of pink like that. Yep, I love it. Okay, so here we are. 3 adorable, cute little Christmas girls from all 3 made out of this stamp set. And then you kind of have some additional like tiny accessories like this candy cone here. And again, coolest elf in Santa's workshop. Hashtag ho ho ho, hashtag holly jolly, hashtag joy to the world, and naughty or nice. And the size kind of matching the little girls so that you can add them to the girls or to the cards. And yeah, I think I will call it done for this part of the video, because I guess this is already pretty long. However, yeah, there will be a second part to this video where I will share how I incorporate those 3 little cuties into some cards, maybe, or tags. I'm not sure yet. Let me just add a little bit of glitter. Those are the Nuvo drops, glitter drops, because again, some glitter is it's always a good choice. For me, at least, if you are a glitter kind of girl. So just adding a little bit of random glitter here to this fluffy stuff. Still don't know how to call it, but you get the idea. And maybe a little bit here to her little outfit, like this, and over here yeah, maybe just to the head. Don't want to overdo it with the glitter, but I think just a tiny bit of glitter, sparkle, kind of adds to it if you don't overdo it.
Alrighty, so let me take a look. Yep, love it, really cute. So I'm gonna let this dry, and then there will be again a second part to this video where I will create 3 fun watercolor Christmas cards incorporating those 3 girls.
Yes, so I hope you enjoyed the tips on using this cute stamp set. Yeah, what else? Yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Sometimes it just it feels like I'm doing videos for the very first time sometimes. I don't know. Yeah, hope you enjoyed it, guys. If you enjoyed okay, I think we'll start over again. So I hope you enjoyed it, guys, and if you liked the video, if you enjoyed it, if it inspired you, then please give it a thumbs up. I guess after those bloopers right now, I will get more thumbs down. So give it a thumbs up if you liked the video, if you enjoyed it, if you could draw some inspiration from it, if it helped you in any way. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet, and hit that little notification bell to make sure you will receive a notification once I upload a new video to stay in the loop. And other than that, wishing you a wonderful day, and talk to you all again soon. Bye!